record. Happy Thursday, everyone. It is our Empowering Healthy Women evening, our 30 minutes to plug in with our sisterhood community and talk about stuff that is important to us. So this is JoJo Bennington, and I am so happy to be here with you tonight. And a couple of weeks ago, I guess we are on week 9. Can you believe we've been doing this for 9 weeks? I can't believe we're on week 9. My sister from another mister, Miss Lidy Flom, and I, we are both certified nutritional consultants. We've been partnering up and helping people in health and wellness for a lot of years. We were having a conversation about things that were much needed in our space. And one of the things that we felt was having a community where we could get all the girls together, have a talk on a weekly basis, just about things that were important to us. No makeup, didn't matter if our hair was done, somewhere where we could come without judgment, without worrying about, whether or not I still smell from my workout this morning, because no one's going to care. And everyone understands, and we could talk about things that are important to us. So 30 minutes in and out. We start right at 5:30. We're right out at 6. So if there's any questions that are left over, we will address them on the Facebook page. And so if anybody's not in the Facebook page, please go to Empowering Healthy Women Facebook page or private message me so I can get you added into the page. Make sure that you have a notepad and pen, because we are going to talk about a very interesting topic tonight, which is gut health and all of the interesting things that go along with that. So we go, how you pooping lately, right? So it's not really a conversation we all have, but it's kind of funny in the wellness community how often we really actually talk about this subject. So nothing to be ashamed of. It's the one thing that keeps us all on a level playing field, is we all have to have healthy guts, right? It's the one thing that I don't care if you're Oprah or you're JoJo. Everybody does that one thing that we just have to do. Keeps us all the same. So Lidy is such an expert in this area. She said, what are we going to talk about? And I said, well, it's time for that. And so I said, that's all up to you now. So we're handing it over to Lidy, because this is her forte. So Lidy, thanks for being on. It's good to see you. And I know you have tons of good stuff to share with us tonight.
Well, thank you, JoJo. And I said, to myself, make note. JoJo just said we get to be real. Yay. And we get to talk about the real stuff. And so I guess one of the things I want to do is I want to, in a sense, be on the same page as all of you, and know that when, we live life, when we see some people, we say, well, wow, looks like they got their life put together and looks like they're doing well. And, I'm over here and I'm struggling a little bit. But might I just say to you that I began my hunger and my thirst to know what's so. And that started out when I had a sick baby when she was 9 months old. Going forward, I discovered that it wasn't my baby's problem, it was my problem. Ooh, awakened, right? So what was going on? Well, there were some things that I was doing that my body didn't have enough nutrients to feed a baby. And so then I had to look at that and started the supplementation program. And then fast forward, the second baby had thrush and yeast issues. And then I had, if I can tell you, the most excruciating breastfeeding experience I've ever had in my life. And what happened for me is that it was unbelievable. I needed to pinch my nipples to the point of they were itching like crazy. And I went to the doctor. He said, well, we're going to give you some cortisone cream. You can put some cortisone cream on, your breast. And I said, I'm nursing this boy who wants to eat every 2 hours. Doc, wash it off. This baby's going to have this in his mouth. He's got thrush. I mean, there's something going on here. Just doesn't make sense. And then there was a seminar that said that it was a multiple health-related issues, in particular related to some women's issues, but there was a word on there that said Candida, candidiasis. And I thought, gosh, there's something coming from Canada I wonder what's coming in from Canada. I tell you, I'm saying this to be real. Like, I was like this loser mom. What's up? This lady doesn't know what he's, and long story short, I go there and they list off all the symptoms. So I'm going to get real right now with the whole symptom conversation, because the moment I got that was the moment I like, they're talking about me. I went to the seminar to find about other people, what was coming into, the US from Canada. And here's what they said. So they said, Candida albicans is a type of parasitical yeast-like fungus that inhibits your intestines and genital tract, mouth, esophagus, and throat. In a healthy balance with, keyword, with other bacteria and yeast in the body. However, certain conditions can cause it to multiply, weaken the immune system, and causing an infection known as candidiasis. The fungus can travel through the bloodstream, so it becomes systemic into many parts of the body. And now I'm thinking like, okay, they're bringing something on here and they're talking about the symptoms. It can begin with a common like mouth sores. I didn't have mouth sores. And it could be your ears, it could be your nose, it could be gastrointestinal tract, it could be the vagina, and characterized by many symptoms like constipation. Now they're talking, right? Constipation, that's mine. Okay, diarrhea. It could be things like abdominal pain. And then we go back to headaches, bad breath, erectile itching, impotence, and memory loss, and mood swings, and prostatitis, canker sores, and persistent heartburn, and muscle and joint pain, and sore throat, and congestion, and nagging cough, and numbness in the face and extremities, tingling sensations, and acne, night sweats, severe itching, clogged sinuses, PMS, burning tongue, white spots on the tongue. That's my baby. I'm thinking like, whoa, that's my baby. And then it's in the mouth, extreme fatigue, vaginitis, kidney and bladder infections, arthritis. I was diagnosed at 26 with arthritis. They said I'd be in a wheelchair by 36. That was, with the first baby. And bladder infections, okay? So then it goes on to talk about hyperactivity, hypothyroidism. As I'm sharing these thoughts with you, I think maybe you want to be like maybe jotting some notes of some people that you might think that have some of these issues. And we're going to go right to the core with this. So adrenal problems, and even diabetes. Okay, symptoms often get worse in damp and moldy places and after the consumption of foods containing sugar and yeast, carbohydrates. Here we're talking about all these things. What's happening, right? And because many of these are varied symptoms, this disorder is often misdiagnosed. I was diagnosed at 26 with arthritis, and they said that it's such aggressive arthritic condition that I would actually be in a state in a wheelchair at 36. And I thought to myself, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to have crippled hands. I don't want to be humped over. I don't want to be with pain in all my joints. I already had that when I was a young child. I had pain so much that it was in every single joint. I didn't like to go skating. I didn't like to be cold at all. I was told, that I was, a wussy, that I couldn't handle it. I just had to get over it. And it was like, no, I can't get over this. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to go back to say this, that when we have sort of like white in our mouth, cheesy discharge, intense itching or burning, all of this ends up being the result of this yeast is the beast. Yeast is your beast. And it all starts in this whole process. Now I'm going to read the next part of it. It says, white sores may form on the tongue, the gums, and inside the cheeks. In a baby, the white spots or oral thrush may resemble milk spots. Oral thrush is, in an infant, can spread to the mother's nipples by breastfeeding, and then can lead to a situation in which the mother and the baby are continually reinfecting each other. Thrush may also infect a baby's buttocks, appearing as diaper rash. And Candida infection may also take the form of athlete's foot or jock itch. So we're looking at this thing, it's an overgrowth. And if you now look at this one conversation we're having, they say that right now that 99% of all dis-ease in the body is related to Candida. It doesn't matter what the title is. And I just said to you, like diabetes over here, as it was kind of like going through the list. But we can't diagnose, treat, and cure, but we can say that they all have these symptoms. And as we think about that, you say, well, if it's a yeast environment, it's going to weaken your tissue, and your body has weak cells parked in an area where they won't be disturbed. So basically, what's happening is that they're manifesting in that space. And it can typically be your, call it your lymphatic system, your heart, your kidney, your liver, your spleen, your organs, they have a pump. But your lymphatic system does not have a pump. And that means be in this area. We talked about ears, nose, throat conversation. You look at underneath your armpits, you look at your breast tissue. This is all lymphatic area. There's no pump in there. And then you got your gut. And then you got your whole, abdomen, kind of like, so, I can't firm up, but there's something going on. And I have gas. I have gas issues, that flatulence, as we would say, that those are issues that actually is coming from the off-gassing of these parasites in this yeast that's fermenting in the body. And you say, well, I just can't get rid of that. Well, here's what we know, that you can. And that's the good news. And they said that all the underlying things, even advanced levels of the word cancer and even AIDS, is just another autoimmune disease. It's all, it's an immune deficiency. That system is struggling. And so all of this can be passed on, and it comes from the parents. So then the more I'm learning about this, I'm like, okay, if I am going to go through this Candida program and it's an overgrowth, then I got to look at my partner and look at like, okay, if it's sexually transmitted, so it goes on, here it is. It says, candidiasis may affect both men and women. However, it is transmitted through sexuality. They thought at first that it wasn't, but because it's common in babies and they're affecting, it by going back and forth, that actually they're born with a weakened immune system. So as a result of that, we now know that because when it proliferates in the body and it's systemic, it gets into your bloodstream, it is everywhere. So it's everywhere. And your body is challenged for the sake of the fact that they cannot fight their battles. So antibiotics are usually used as a method. So let me just say a word about antibiotics. Never take an antibiotic if, in fact, you've not had blood work done. And if it is that you've had blood work done, for example, they say that it is a bacteria that you're fighting. Antibiotics kill bacteria, period. But they don't kill fungus. And this is a yeast-like fungus, okay? And they will not take care of parasites. They don't take care of anything else in that body. So you start to think about, well, if in my colon that I have my army, and my army is bacteria, keyword, bacteria, and that I have invader bacteria, and I'm going to take an antibiotic, it doesn't know the difference between good, friendly bacteria or bad bacteria. So now you've got your body, you're killing off your army, your frontline defense. And you could say, shame on them. And there's a time that I got to a point of understanding this, that I wanted to say, I just got to start teaching people. I got to tell my friends, take their kids off of antibiotics, ear infections, and that's just like weakening that immune system. And now, that there is even research that says you can go back and look at all the research, and they did fecal matter studies in students that were college students, and they could tell which child was breastfed and which one was bottle fed, because of the amount of the colonies of good bacteria. The baby that had good bacteria had a higher level of the colonies from breast milk. So whatever, if you can encourage any of your friends and any of your like new moms and, our daughter-in-law and our daughters, trying to teach them and help them understand some of this, because you just don't know. I mean, you never paid attention to that. And furthermore, how would you even know? So I feel blessed that we actually had some of these challenges when my children were young, because it gave me power or thirst to want to know what's so. And then realizing that I couldn't lose weight, and it had to do with this yeast beast. And everything just kind of like culminated around that whole thing. So it's an immune suppression that's happening, and your body can't fight it. And this yeast takes over. And so then what happens is that when you eat the food, some people say, Lidy, I eat food and I'm still hungry. Key clue. You're not being fed. You can't lose weight. And some people say, listen, Lidy, I hardly eat anything anymore. I hardly eat anything. And I still gain weight. Because you know what? Your body's hanging on to all of that, and it's feeding the yeast and the beast in you. And when you have perforation in your gut wall and it becomes systemic, then here's what's happening. It's not even able to deliver. It can't even be assimilated. So when I started hearing about nutrition that was actually transferable, it didn't have to go through the digestive system first, because that's how I learned like nutrition. It had to be chewed well, and yes, it needs to be chewed, but if it's already broken down to the point of where it actually, even if you're not chewing well, it still can be assimilated, I needed to start taking a look at that. And so that's what's allowed me to kind of think outside my box, not get stuck like, gosh, science already has it all figured out, and I'm not going to look any further. And appreciating, and now I appreciate formulations, now I appreciate symbiotic, I understand adaptogens. I mean, all that is key. So when you're looking at a label, I would say I'm pretty tough on a label, but I know that if it is processed properly, that it's going to deliver. It's going to be boss. And it's like, I get to partner with me, and the things that are actually good for my body, it's going to say, come on, keep going. I need another day. I need another day. I need another day. And it's like, you don't even find yourself cheating anymore. It's like, oh, I don't care about that Snicker bar. I mean, I used to get off the freeway, exit to a gas station, and I go get Snicker bars before I got home. I mean, because I'm like, I gotta stay awake. So I'm being real with you all. I'm just telling you that actually, I don't even care if there's Snicker bars. I don't care. I could care less. And so my husband said last night, you know what? I had a couple M&Ms. They don't even taste good anymore. I mean, I could have ate the whole bag full, right? Nah, they don't even taste good. So it knows that your taste buds will change when the healthier you are. And the more unhealthy we are, we crave sweets. So you can help. I'm doing a lot of research on autism right now and Alzheimer's, and realizing that if you you put somebody in a grocery store and you say you can come out of here with one thing, what one thing are you going to come out of the grocery store with? And you just go and let your kids go there, you're going to find out exactly what's going on in that body. And so, I mean, it doesn't matter. All these things are related to the yeast beast. If that's the one thing you can hone in on, we can get to that point. So we want friendly bacteria. We want to take garlic in. We want to take like Pau-d'Arco tea. We want to take on, elements that are adaptogenic. So when you're starting to look at that, know what they are, and know that your body is going to be changing rapidly. So as it's changing, here's what's happening. You have an opportunity to have your body be on point, addressing what's going on 24/7, 365. That's your partner you want to have. I mean, I have to say, I've thought that I've heard it all, done it all, seen it all, been there. But when I then had another challenge was our son with Lyme's disease. I'm going to say this, that I went right back to this conversation. He was the baby that had thrush. And he's the baby that we got to work on an immune system for. And I went right back into that and said, we're gonna win this battle. We're gonna win this battle. So here's what I can say. The number of things that you need is like essential fatty acids. Like you need omega, we get a lot of omega-9s in our diet, but you need 3 and 6 omega fatty acids. Probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics like acidophilus, bifidus. You'll find that in some protein products where they will actually even have acidophilus, bifidus. So it's a pre-digestive kind of process to allow it to be more bio-readily available. It's not necessarily what you eat, it's what you absorb. And that's why Candida is such a beast, because you can eat good things and still not be fed. You got to kill off that beast and you got to suffocate it, right? So even fruit in the first month is going to look like sugar or food for the yeast beast. So no dairy, no caffeine, no alcohol, no white flour, and no carbs. Like refined carbs, like sugar and pasta and breads, all that.
So let me ask you a question, Lidy, because we have so many people that go, well, I'm going to go on this juice cleanse, and they're not juicing vegetables, they're juicing fruit to try and cleanse themselves of Candida. They're actually doing more harm than good doing that. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, it's so fragile. Can I just say this, that you have concentrated levels of fructose, just because of how your body sees it. If you start starving that beast, it's going to look for everything that's going to be able to be converted. You kind of got to look at it like a worm, like it's going in on one end and putting out stuff at the other end. That's your flatulence. That's all your flatulence issues. So cut that off. Starve the beast. Don't let them hatch. And here's what I can tell you, that even if you have Candida and people are saying, there's some times in the month, I'm just like crazy. I feel like mentally like I'm losing it. The day before and the day of the full moon and the day after, you get a 3-day period when these parasites are laying eggs and they're hatching. So you got a cycle here. Ugh. So when it gets really bad, and our son actually had, we found the spirochete, the Lyme spirochete, laying in his brain. So we've had some amazing things. He couldn't speak anymore. I mean, he couldn't move his eyes. He couldn't move his head on his shoulders. I mean, it was like, wow. And so I can just tell you that you've got to like look at like how to get bold and bodacious. And I had to get bold first. And then, but it was a wake-up call. And the wake-up call came in small increments. Like, okay, I need to get on supplementation. That was my first baby. The second one, oh, I have to go kill and go after this beast, the yeast. I mean, like, I am like, I didn't think it was such a mess. I mean, but I can tell you, there were days that I dropped the kids off at daycare. I got to work. I did feasibility studies. You know, I did land acquisitions, and I did write council letters, and I had to stand before the public and, you know, make a presentation. And I would ask myself, how do I calculate these numbers? Like, and I had a couple moms this week say, you know, I think I'm losing my mind. I'm like, you think you're losing your mind? Because they're in your brain. It's systemic. And so there's going to be die-off. And the die-off is not necessarily a fun day. Let me just say, you can destroy that. You can completely destroy that. And there are toothpaste that contribute and some that don't contribute. Like they can, like it can really kill that stuff off. So Jojo, I know we just got a few minutes. I just want you to manage the time here and manage.
Yeah, we have a few minutes left, and so we have some questions. It's is there a special probiotic or prebiotic? So let's talk about some things that you recommend doing, and then maybe some things to stay away from. So like top things that I would do and top things I would stay away from.
Well, I could talk probably all day on an acidophilus bifidus conversation, but here's what I'm going to say. you have to fight the infection with the gut flora, and you have to build your army back. And so that's acidophilus and bifidus. Yes, there are levels of acidophilus and bifidus, but maybe we'll make that as just another kind of conversation on another night, because I just feel like I won't do it justice. Is that okay? Okay, so absolutely. And acidophilus bifidus is like you're building your army back. You're gonna strengthen your front line of defense. And just remember that if you have a strong immune system, put garlic into your program. Eat vegetables, eat fish, eat gluten-free, brown rice, not white rice. If it's cultured dairy products, you can do this after a month. Cultured dairy products would be like kefir. If it says direct set on cottage cheese, for example, that's bad because that's a chemical. If it says naturally cultured, you can use naturally cultured things. Yeah, like oat bran, they say you can do oat bran. Just water, drink lots of water that's actually been purified water. You can have another conversation about that. Yeah, so avoid like cheeses, alcohol, like I said, baked goods, chocolate, dried fruits, because they're just concentrated, right? And fermented foods are great. And so, I mean, it's like you could live on vegetables. Just think about steamed or raw vegetables, kind of like that. You get real serious about that and give the beast no interest in the foods that you're taking in. Take your, proteins that are going to be clean proteins. And yeah, maybe that's enough. Any more questions? Maybe JoJo?
Yeah, so I would add into, so when we're talking fermented foods, like apple cider vinegar would be great, right? Kimchi or sauerkraut or pickles, if they don't have sugar, if they're not made with sugar. There's lots of fermented things that you can do that we don't realize are fermented that are actually really good for gut health. And so just as a thought of that. But so we have somebody who wants to know if a Candida cleanse can be done while you're pregnant.
Well, that's a good question, because I had to ask that question. So number one, while you're pregnant and while you're nursing, you have too much die-off. So kind of hang in there, stay the course. I'm going to say if you can, if you can start just taking a cleanse, like just doing a little bit of cleansing and just take it gradual, and then stay away from the foods that feed the beast. So that's probably the best. I mean, I can't do this diagnose, cure conversation. I'm going to say this: just look at what you're eating, and don't give them any power. And you cannot go through that. So I had to quit nursing. So, yeah.
So you can adjust a lot of what you do while you're pregnant with just your nutrition intake.
Yeah, increase your omegas. You really think about developing the child has a lot of brain development in utero. And if it is that they were lacking, you're going to find that even some of these children that today that have autism, that they're starving for minerals, they're starving for omegas, and they'll go and eat them on their own. They'll go to the refrigerator and take what they want because their body's asking, and they just respond in their pure innocence, right?
Wow. Well, that was a ton of information. I have notes written all over the place. So it's always interesting to me how much it has an effect on every single thing that takes place in our body. And we overlook our gut so much. And when it really starting there is a key. Starting there. That's the first step, not the last step. And so obviously this is not a 30-minute conversation. And so we will rally back and talk more in depth about probiotics down the road and have that conversation more in depth to understand the different strains and what they do, because I know that they all do different stuff. And So I
We'll
hope
talk
that was
about
helpful for, oh, we'll talk about parasites. Ooh, we'll show some pretty pictures. Yeah. But,
Yeah.
so everybody, I'm going to take this off of this view so we can see everybody's face, but we are at time. And so if there's any questions or you guys want to know anything, or there's any part of this topic that you want to have more discussion about, or there's anything you want to have a discussion about, please post it up on the Facebook page, because we're putting out to see what you guys want to talk about. It's not just always us. So these topics are coming from you guys. And so, obviously, this is
Jojo,
a longer conversation.
yeah, Jojo, I do want to make a special point of reference about Podiarco tea. Sorry, and you can do Podiarco tea, but you can throw some cloves in there and make it a little bit stronger, because parasites don't like that. And you'll go look at in any ingredient, list of things that you might be taking. Look for Podiarco. Podiarco is a bark, and parasites don't like it. And
I know I take a supplement that has it in there, and I guess I'll be taking extra now. So awesome. Everybody say thank you to Lidy. Blow her a big kiss.
Mwah. Love you
And
all.
we'll see you all next week. Get to see all your lovely faces. Thank you so much, Lidy. That was incredible. Love you. Good night, everybody.
Love you. Take care.